Welcome to your Yin series. This is a series of 30-minute Yin classes that are designed to equally unravel the mind as well as the body. So we're not just targeting muscles, but we're targeting our connective tissue, all of those fascial connections around the muscles and at our important joints. I really want this sequence to counterbalance the busyness and that quick pace of the rest of your life, so that when you press play on these classes, you can truly have the time to be with your very unique body and create that balance that you are seeking. So go ahead and grab 2 blocks or anything that resembles a block, a yoga mat, create a comfortable space for yourself, and we'll get started. Welcome to your practice. This sequence is designed for the entire lower body. So everything from the pelvis, glutes, quadriceps, hamstrings, calves, right down to ankles and feet. Have 2 blocks or anything that resembles a block ready for the sequence, and we'll begin with a toe stretch. Go ahead, cushion up your knees if you need any additional support, and then tuck all 10 toes beneath you. You'll slowly shift your weight back. Option 1, stay here, either tented fingertips to mat or hands to blocks. Option 2, bring your hands up to your thighs, still hinged slightly forward. Or option 3, stack the shoulders vertically above those hips, finding neutral engagement through the core to protect the spine. Go ahead and take a deep breath all the way in, all the way out. And notice that your breath is primarily in the upper body. So now with this next breath, how can you start to send the breath a bit lower? Maybe with your exhale, feeling a settling and arriving into your body today. Grounding down from the hips to the legs and the feet. You're welcome to do as much of this practice with your eyes closed or just a soft gaze. Truly helping you to connect, because as you know, these holds will be longer. The reason for that is it allows our body time to bypass the initial muscle spindle stretch response. That initial stretch response that says, oof, we might get hurt, and the whole body kind of seizes up. After about 45 seconds, the body goes, okay, we're safe, we're secure. Let's actually start to stretch. And we receive the stretch not just in the muscles, but in the connective tissues around those muscles as well. Your myofascia, tendons, ligaments, right down to the bone and everything around that joint. So we're really going to be creating some change in the body today, and that takes time. Our feet are pretty amazing. So, shoes have been designed to do a lot of the work for us, and in turn, that creates a weak and kind of lazy foot. So exercises like this are creating space and strength in the foot to help us then with every single step that we take. Our feet are our foundation. You'll start to feel this percolating all the way up through the ankles, calves, hamstrings, into your pelvis and low back. Lots of space from this very simple yet effective posture. Let's just take one more deep breath here. In, out, and slowly shift yourselves forward. Take your time. Move your blocks aside. Unpeel one foot and then the next. Give yourselves a little rock side to side, and then awaken the feet with a small tap. Good. Shift over to the right side. Draw your right shin parallel to the short edge of your mat. Left shin parallel to the long edge. So you're making these interesting right angles between the upper leg bone and the lower leg bones. We'll take hands on either side of the front knee. Notice to get there, I already had to kind of arch my spine. So I'm creating this almost cow-like shape from the cat-cow sequence, right? That pelvis is sticking back, chest is pulling through, and the shoulders are pulling back. And as I start to do that, I create a stretch right at the attachment points of the hamstrings into that IT band and into that ischial tuberosity. So you start to feel amazing space through the entire outer right hip. Let's take a big deep breath in, grow tall. And on your exhale, wrap your elbows in and just slowly pull forward. Again, inhale when you're ready, grow tall. Exhale, wrap your elbows in, pull forward. Going a little deeper each time. We have one more. And then we come to land. This is where I really like to use the blocks, placing them beneath the forearms. Ensure that you maintain that nice neutral spine. So we really are targeting the pelvis and not the back. Right? So keep your back neutral, keep that energy, that pull, that spaciousness around the pelvis here. And then again, how can you move your breath from your throat and chest down into your hips, your legs, your feet? For me, often it's a big exhale through the mouth. That sound immediately relaxes the pelvic floor, in turn relaxing the lower body. So perhaps practice a few vocal exhales. Make the observation now how things have shifted so much. No longer are the muscles contracted and fighting back, but they have softened, they've lengthened so that we can get to those attachment points on how the muscle cooperates, interacts with the joint. That's the fascia and all of those ligaments and tendons. This is where the true shifts in your mobility happen. It takes time. One more big breath on this side. Counter stretch, inhale, lead with the back of the head, right hands to blocks. Place right hand tented by your right hip. Sweep your left arm up and over. And slowly release, lean back. Extend your legs. Take a clearing breath. And transition to side two. We'll shift to that left sitting bone. Bring the left shin parallel to the short edge of the mat, your right shin parallel to the long edge. Move your blocks in front of you so you don't have to reach for them later, and tense your fingertips on either side of the front knee. Inhale, get nice and tall through the spine, remembering that slight arch in order to isolate the muscles around the pelvis. Exhale, wrap your elbows in, lead your chest forward as you lower down. Twice more with your breath, rising up and pulling through to lower. Feeling that entire outer left hip, getting that fabulous release. The next time that you're down, stay down. You may choose, like I am, to use the blocks under the elbows. In yin yoga, you often hear teachers say, find stillness. And I think that that's a challenging statement because it's kind of the opposite of what we want to do here, right? There's a lot of fidgeting that wants to happen in order to feel safe and secure. So what I'd like to encourage you to do is please fidget as you need. So if you need to adjust based on my alignment cues or based on your own body's signals, please do. But what we're trying to avoid is moving for the sake of movement. And you'll notice we do a lot of that in yoga. Shifting our clothes, moving our hair, wiggling the body. That's what we're trying to avoid in a yin practice. So that the movements all become much more intentional. You might observe yourself making micro adjustments. So I can feel that my shoulders are starting to round a little bit, and I'm just going to pull my chest through. Drop the shoulders away. You might notice your neck is cranking up. So you might gently draw the chin in the direction of the chest, so the crown of the head is an extension of the spine. These micro adjustments support the refining cues of the posture. Again, observe your breath, how it might be more in the upper body, the chest, the throat, and how we try now to take that breath a little bit deeper, helping us to connect to the lower body. Your final breath on this side. And slowly lead with the back of the head, rise up, hands to blocks. Left hand tented to the outer left hip, sweep the right arm up and over. Slow release, this time both legs behind you. Come into tabletop. Vertically stack shoulders over wrists, hips over knees, and then push the mat away to create that neutral spine. Send the left leg back, tuck the toes, push out through the heel, and just get a really nice calf stretch. Notice that I'm not arching, but I've got that more neutral position. For most of us, that means drawing the belly button back towards the spine. As you push your heel down, you'll notice the shoulders move out of that vertical stacking. That's okay. This is just your interpose before we move into our first dragon pose. In yin, that's what we call a lunge. So we'll shift to the right, draw a semicircle with the left leg, and keep the leg to the outside, okay? Your hands will come on blocks on the inside of the foot. I want you to look down and make sure that the knee stacks directly over that heel and that the hands are placed on the blocks. All of that is under the shoulder joint. And then you can go ahead and push the joint or the ball, push the blocks away and feel that nice length arrive in the entire spine. Shoulders back, chest forward. You might need to make some adjustments. So in class, often I see students kind of crunched up in this pose. So I'll get them to tuck their back toes, lift the knee, and draw the knee further away from the body. As space becomes available to you, you'll be amazed at how much lower you can drop your pelvis in this posture. I'm going to let you know when we are halfway through. That is when we might do an adjustment with the arms. to intensify the pose. So one more breath in this version. And then please remember you have 3 levels to this block, okay? So you could either work on the highest, the mid, or the low. And you'll go ahead and take the right elbow down. So again, maybe I'm playing with the mid level. That's a really nice in-between place. Then the left elbow down. Your hands can come into prayer, fingertips tented, or fingers interlaced. Now, a few things to refine your alignment. Please notice the right hip is slowly dropping down. As you reach your edge, you'll feel the left hip trying to compensate by sending the left knee out. We don't want that. So I want your left foot to stay completely grounded, especially through the big toe. So that'll actually pull the knee in and possibly lift the hips up. That's okay. Stay there. Draw the chest through the shoulders. Retract the head, but drop the chin. This is such an intense posture. We have one more breath in your deep lizard. And then we get this beautiful interpose. So we'll slowly press hands to blocks. Ground the right hand. And sweep the left arm up. You could even tuck your back toes if you want. And then release. Send the left leg back to tabletop. This time, arch the spine, look up, notice a difference. Round the spine, gaze in. Arrive through neutral, send the right leg back. Interpose, go ahead and push the heel down. So remember that we're not arching the spine to push, but we're keeping that neutral spine by pulling belly up towards the spine. And then as I give a little push, my shoulders actually pull back from that vertical stacking. You feel a nice awakening through the gastroc and soleus complex at the back of your calf. Beautiful. One more breath, and whenever you're ready, you can gaze to the right, tent to the finger, and just support yourself with a little sweep of the leg and then a heel toe of the foot. Take your hands on blocks on the inside of the leg. And then remember some of the common misalignments I see in class. A lot of students end here thinking this is where their pose is sort of finished. Instead, what I'd like you to do is start to feel this kind of release through the sacrum. And what that might do is pull you out of alignment. So see how my front knee is pulling way ahead of the heel? That means that I need that second cue that we did on the first side. Tuck the back toes, lift the knee, and draw the knee further away from the body. Lower the knee and then release the foot and make sure that the ankle doesn't sickle. So I sometimes gaze back to check that out. Gaze forward again. Now I've got my pose. My knee is stacked right over that heel. Go ahead and lengthen the spine. Drop the shoulders and settle in. Remember, first half of the posture, we're staying on the hands, on the blocks. So you can lower the blocks a level if you wish. I'm going to play with that lowest level again. And deepening your breath will help you connect to those muscles of the lower body, starting with all the pelvic floor muscles and then percolating down the pelvis and the legs. One more breath in this version of the posture, and then we'll slowly lower, this time the left elbow first. Again, I'll play with the mid-level of block, taking left elbow and then the right down. This side is tighter for me. So instantly I noticed that my right knee flared out. If that happens to you as well, maybe come up a little bit, because we actually want that entire left foot to stay grounded. That'll pull the knee in, realign the ankle and knee joint, and actually lift the hips up out of the stretch a bit. So you might notice after a few breaths, okay, my body's getting used to this, and now maybe I can lower. All of your movements are intentional. Use your breath to keep everything slow. Hands either in prayer, tented through fingers, or interlaced. Enjoy your final breath on this side. And then place your hands down to rise. You can move your blocks out of the way as you ground the left hand. I like to tuck my back toes and lift the knee as I find my interpose here. Enjoying this big, bright, open twist. And then releasing when you're ready. Heel toe the foot to the right and back. Find tabletop. A little sway this time of the hips, one side and then the next. Good. Shift over to that right side. Come back into your deer pose, okay? So right shin parallel, and I want you guys to be slightly more up towards the top of your mat. Left shin parallel to the long edge. This time, take your hands and place them forward. So rather than to the side, bring them forward. Interlace, or ground the hands rather, lift the chest, and then stay nice and long here as you interlace the hands behind you. Drop the knuckles down towards the floor, create a big openness at the chest, and then begin to hinge forward. Rising up with your inhale. Lowering down with your exhale. Twice more. Last one. The next time that you're down, stay down. Return your fingers to that tented position. Option 1, deepening your deer. You can lower yourselves down either onto the blocks. Notice that they're pressed right into my front shin. Or option 2, elbows pressed directly into that front shin. Left hand could even high five the sole of the left foot to help you really lengthen forward. Or your final option, pigeon pose. Closing the angle at the front leg, straighten out the back leg, and take the hips over to the left. This will even the pelvis so the sacrum is shining up towards the ceiling. Wherever you are, maintain length in your spine, dropping chin slightly towards chest to extend that length out the crown of the head. If you have chosen pigeon, continue to pull the right hip back as you melt the left hip down. Now this time we're linking postures, okay? So we're on the right side. Walk your hands in towards your body. Release the props. Tuck your back toes. So if you're in deer pose, you're going to meet us in tabletop. If you're in pigeon, you can just lift yourselves up back to tabletop, okay? So now we're all here. Right leg back, calf stretch. Into low lunge, draw the right leg forward. Heel toe it to the inside now, placing blocks on the outside of the foot. Start on the highest level. And again, if you've really overshot and you're leaning far forward, tuck your back toes, lift the knee and readjust, okay? Ground the hands, lift the chest. Two options. Option one, you can stay in this sort of forward, more yin-like Anjaneyasana or a dragon version. Option two, you could walk your hands back in line with your hips. Now, if you've done this, I want you guys to all take the knee out to the right so the hips can really stay low, and then pull the knee in. So you've kind of just worked around the acetabulum a little bit, and then maybe lower those blocks. Halfway through the pose. Three final breaths on this side of low lunge. To release the posture, shift yourselves forward and heel toe the foot back. Arch the spine, look up. Notice a difference. Round the spine, gaze in. Second deer on the left. Bring the left shin parallel to short edge. Remember that we start a little bit more up towards the top of the mat. Take the right shin parallel to long edge. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, you'll need to hinge forward because this version we have the hands up with that shin. So remember, you could play with your blocks or fingers here. Everybody finding the first option. So first option was down on the elbows. Maintaining that nice neutral spine. Now this side is tighter for me, and I'm noticing that I need to give a little bit more of a push to my back knee to kind of send my hips forward. So you guys might need to play with that as well. If you're more tight here, notice this back hip kind of needs to rotate forward to help me get my arm down. Option two, maybe your arms like to go down. All the way to the mat, maybe right hand high fives the sole of the foot to help me find this bandha or this energy lock to lean away from. Option three, go ahead and decrease the angle at the front leg, straighten out your back leg and square off your hips. If you've moved into pigeon, pull the left hip back as you drop the right hip down. Everyone, slow down your breath. At this point in your practice, you may notice some distractions. And I invite you to just smile and draw your awareness back to this breath, this pose, this mat. I love the analogy that our yoga mat is like an island, so that it is with us and we can kind of be alone on it, having our own unique experience throughout the yoga practice, even when we're practicing in a studio with others. Let's take 3 more breaths. To release the pose, everyone meeting back in tabletop. Give a slight sway side to side, and then left leg back, calf stretch. And left leg out to the left and forward for low lunge. Place hands on the highest level of the blocks. Go ahead and lengthen your spine. Readjust the legs as needed. until the front knee is stacked over that heel. Spine is long, hips are sinking down. Option 1, stay here or play with lowering the blocks. Option 2, walk the blocks in line with your hips. And then again, you'll take the knee out to the left so you can really sink your hips into this pose and then pull the knee back in. Once you find that end range of motion, you can play with lowering the blocks a level or two as space becomes available. Ooh, such an intense posture. One more breath into the intensity. And then everyone lean forward, release, and find tabletop. Last time. From tabletop, take your knees wide. Send your hips slowly back. Rock and sway. And then release your chest and head. Take elbows wide. Thumb and first finger connect to make a diamond shape as you release. Walk your hands in towards your body. Close with a comfortable seat. Place palms together. Bow head to heart. Thank you for sharing this practice.